Welcome to everyone.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening. Have a sweet day, sweet Saturday.
Okay, so today we're going to be looking at plagiarism. It's the same class as the Burmese. Oops, I accidentally stopped sharing. It's the same class as the Burmese one earlier today. So we have the same class in Burmese in the morning and in English at night. And so we have a class on a topic related to research writing or academic writing every Saturday for 1 hour. And we have, so the research writing is in Burmese, it's at 9 a.m. and then it's at 7 p.m. We also then have one class in teacher training, which is at 10:30 a.m. in Burmese and 8:30 p.m. in English. So you can attend both or any of them. They are free, although we do ask for a donation if you want to give one on the application form. I've just added that in now through KBZ Pay and on the feedback form. So if you like the class, please donate to help cover the cost of, because we have to pay for Zoom, our website, a few other things, and we're just doing this as volunteers. So like I mentioned, today we're looking at plagiarism. Introduction, very simple. What is plagiarism? So our objectives, oh, there's some background noise. I'm just going to mute everyone for now. But if you want to say anything, please unmute yourself at any time. So the objectives for this lesson are that participants will be able to define and identify examples of plagiarism. So we have some community guidelines, and we go over these every week, but I do know there's a lot of new people this week, so I just wanted to go through them. So obviously we are happy to have everyone here. It's okay if you're late. I do understand that there's technical problems, and maybe you have to leave or come back or whatever. That's okay. Just join in the conversation as you are able to. Please, though, mute yourself when you are not talking, because background noise can be really annoying and frustrating, and people can't hear then. And remember to unmute yourself when you do want to talk so that we can hear everyone. Please complete the pre-session self-paced interactive slides. They're not for homework. We send them out in the email, on the Facebook, and we post them on the Google Classroom. They're for practice for yourself before this class. So the ones on what is plagiarism, we sent out on, I believe, Wednesday. So you can, when we email out, there's a link there and you can do it. They don't get marked. It's just for extra practice if you want to practice beforehand, and they're quite short. Also, please fill out the post-session feedback form. I will be putting it in a link in the chat box. I will also be emailing it out probably tomorrow for you, but later today for me, once the classes are all finished. This will help us revise and develop course content. So I do read through all the feedback. Obviously, some things we can change, some things we can't change. If you have any questions or technical issues during the session, please send a message in the chat box indicating so, or email us at info@hettgroup.com. And if you're in the breakout room, you can hit the help button and I will try and come and help. Okay, just to quickly introduce myself, my name is Lisa Vance. I was previously in Myanmar and I've worked as an English language teacher. I've done environmental education and I've worked as a teacher trainer. So I will be facilitating this training. My co-host is Kathleen. Kathleen, can you introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Kathleen Griley. I help Lisa do all of the slides for these sessions and for the pre-class interactive slides as well. And I have experience doing teacher training in Mexico, and currently I'm an English and Spanish teacher in the US.
So how well do you understand plagiarism? So if you can turn on your camera, that's awesome. You can show with your hands or fingers. If not, you can type a number out of 5 in the chat box. So how well do you understand plagiarism? Not at all, a little bit, somewhat, quite well, or extremely well. So show of fingers on the count of, I'll go like this so I can see people. Count of 3. 1, 2, 3. So how many fingers? How well can you understand? Okay.
A little bit, Lisa.
A little bit? Okay, cool. I see lots of 3s, some
A little
4s,
bit.
3s. Okay. A few more 4s, a 2. So this is I'm just going to mute again just because there's a little bit of, I can hear a child in the background. Yeah, so this is just the introduction to what is plagiarism. And then later on, we're going to look at ways to help deal with plagiarism in writing. So in your own words, you can either tell me or you can type in the chat box, what is plagiarism?
Means stealing others.
Yeah, stealing
other idea or password. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely stealing others' ideas. Anyone else? Copying, a kind of intellectual theft. Yes, yes. Stealing, yes. Anyone else want to share?
Copying someone's works without asking for permission.
Good. Copying someone's work without asking for permission. Copying without referring to original writer. Copying without permission. Copy others' intellectual property. When someone uses another person's words, ideas, or work and pretends they are their own.
Copy others without citation.
Yes, copying someone without citation, definitely. Submitting an assignment completed by someone else. Yep. Copying and stealing of other ideas. Yeah, those are all good definitions. Other work without credit, copying without permission. Yeah. Oh. Breach of copyright. Yeah, copying without permission. Okay, so we kind of define it, which most of you have touched on, using someone else's words without giving them credit. So, you know, you don't have proper citations, you don't have proper referencing, you haven't done it properly, or you haven't asked for permission. This is a form of stealing. So it is quite serious. I know sometimes in Myanmar, universities and schools don't take it as seriously. In Canada, in the United States, if you're caught like plagiarizing, maybe if it's accidental, there's a small chance you might not get in as much trouble. But if you're caught plagiarizing, it could mean failing a class. It could mean getting kicked out of the university. I think if it's purposeful plagiarism, it would usually end up with you getting kicked out of the university. So you'd be forced to leave the university if you were a student or if you were a university instructor. So it's taken quite seriously. And it can be purposeful or accidental. So maybe like someone does it on purpose because they don't have enough time to complete an assignment, or accidental where they just make a mistake and forget to do it correctly. In a lot of places, it is illegal. So I don't think it's illegal in Myanmar, but in a lot of countries, it is illegal to do it, and it breaks copyright laws. So we're going to today look at 4 main types of plagiarism. So if you attended the Burmese class this morning or have done the self-paced interactive slides, do you know what those 4 types are? Can anyone tell me or write in the chat box? What are those 4 types? Direct plagiarism, yes.
One time is thoroughly copy.
Yes,
Thoroughly
directly.
copy to other. Thoroughly copy, and the second
Accidental
is
plagiarism.
Self-plagiarism,
Accidental plagiarism.
sorry?
Accidental plagiarism.
Accidental plagiarism, yeah. So that's 3 we have, and mosaic, yes. So those are the 4. So direct plagiarism, self-plagiarism, accidental plagiarism, and mosaic plagiarism. So those are the 4 we're going to talk about today. So you have them here: direct plagiarism, self-plagiarism, mosaic plagiarism, and accidental plagiarism. So tell me which of the 4 this is. So it's when you reuse your own words without consent of previous publishers or professors. So maybe you published in one journal, but you want to reuse part of it. Or if, say, when you were a student, if in one class you did a paper and then you use that paper in another class without asking for permission. What is this one?
Self-plagiarism.
Yes, self-plagiarism, definitely. So yeah, so even though you've written it yourself, you're still supposed to get permission from the publisher or from your professor to reuse the work. Especially if it's being published, because then there is copyright laws, usually on published work. So you have to cite yourself if you are using, so if you've published one piece of work and you're writing a new paper, you have to cite your old paper. You cannot just use it, but you can cite it and reference your old paper. But you have to do it correctly. Okay, so what kind of plagiarism is this? This is when it's an exact copy of words, does not give credit to original authors, not marked with quotation marks, and usually this is the easiest plagiarism to identify.
It is direct plagiarism.
Direct plagiarism.
Yes, direct, and lots of people put that in the chat box. So yeah, this is
Plagiarism.
This is when people think plagiarism, usually this is what they're thinking about. So this is the most noticeable kind of plagiarism and the easiest to identify. So direct plagiarism. So mosaic, oops, sorry, I said what this one was. So this is partial use of someone else's words. So just a little bit, maybe here and here and here, not completely. Can happen when you do not use quotation marks around others' key terms, or if you substitute synonyms without changing the structure of a sentence. You just change the words. It's not really changing it, you just change words. So what kind of plagiarism is this?
It's mosaic.
Mosaic. Mosaic, yes.
Moses.
And just so people know, like this heart picture, that's a kind of a mosaic. Mosaic is like a piece of art that is a mix of different pieces. So that's what it's thinking of, like lots of different pieces together. You've only changed some of it. Okay, so mosaic plagiarism. Okay, how about if you forget to cite your sources? Maybe you incorrectly use quotations, maybe you incorrectly paraphrased or summarized. I mean, it's still illegal. It's still breaking copyright rules. So it depends on the country you're in about the legality of it, but it's still a bad thing to do. What kind of plagiarism is this?
Accidental.
Accidental.
Yes, accidental. Yes.
Accidental.
So you didn't mean to plagiarize, but it happened. You made a mistake. It's still bad, obviously. You still shouldn't do it. You have to be careful not to accidentally plagiarize. So what can you do to avoid plagiarism?
By
citation.
citation of others. By
Yeah,
citation or reference.
Citations of others. What else?
Referencing.
Referencing.
Refers to the original researcher. Yes.
Referencing to the other, to the previous researcher. Yeah.
With to get X permission from original author.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it depends what it's for, but yeah, you might want to ask for permission. If it's something that's published, usually once it's published, you can cite it without needing permission. But if it's not being published, then I would maybe ask. Paraphrase or quote from the sources. Yeah. So yeah, paraphrasing is a good idea. Quotations, using quotations. You can use a plagiarism checker. That's excellent. There's plagiarism checkers out there, and then they can help you, especially around accidental plagiarism. Plagiarism checkers are very useful. In case you've made a mistake and you didn't quote someone correctly or change words around enough, plagiarism checkers can find that information out. And summarizing, good. Yeah, so we have, cite your sources. So do your proper referencing, proper citations, integrate quotes correctly, paraphrase, summarize, that type of thing. And yeah, I agree. Also, you can use a plagiarism checker. Okay, so you will see an example of plagiarism on the slide. Answer the poll to say what type of plagiarism it is, or no plagiarism at all. So which of those four or no plagiarism is being described? Okay, just 1 second, and I will do the poll. Okay. So AA Mint is writing an article. She has conducted her own experiment, but she does not enjoy reading and citing articles. She decides to copy another author's literature review and cite all of the same sources they did. Is this direct plagiarism, self-plagiarism, mosaic plagiarism, accidental plagiarism, or none? I'll just give you about 25 more seconds to answer. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So correct. This is direct plagiarism. She has copied another author's literature review into her own literature review. And so just copied it directly. So that is direct plagiarism. Okay, next one. Ongsan has just been hired as a professor of computer science. He is expected to conduct research as part of his job. He remembers that he already did research like this when he was in college. He decides to reuse his own work to save time. He does not ask permission to do so. Oh. So is this direct plagiarism, self-plagiarism, mosaic plagiarism, accidental plagiarism, or no plagiarism? I'll just give you another 30 seconds to answer. Five, four, three, two, one. Oh, so correct. This is self-plagiarism. So you should ask, you either have to cite, if you had published the work previously, you have to cite it, your previous work, or you have to ask your university for permission to use this, to use your previous research. Tinwin is writing his term paper. He uses a direct quote from another author in his work. Tinwin uses quotation marks around the author's words and includes a citation at the end of his paper. Is this direct plagiarism, self-plagiarism, mosaic plagiarism, accidental plagiarism, or none? Five more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So this is none, no plagiarism. So there was no plagiarism here. He uses the direct quotes correctly. He uses quotation marks correctly, and he has a proper citation and proper referencing. So there's no plagiarism. Gigi is writing a literature review. She does not like to use quotes, so she paraphrases the author's words. She changes some of the words to their synonyms and leaves the sentence structure the same. So, is this direct plagiarism, self-plagiarism, mosaic plagiarism, accidental plagiarism, or none, no plagiarism? Five, four, three, two, one. Okay. So yes, this is mosaic plagiarism. A few words have been changed, but it's not enough for it to be proper paraphrasing or summarizing. Just a few words changed here and there. So it's still copying. It's still copying even if you change 1 or 2 words. Okay. After writing an academic article, Zhao Mint submits his work to a journal. Unfortunately, he forgets to cite all of his sources at the end of his article, so it is rejected. Is this direct plagiarism, self-plagiarism, mosaic plagiarism, accidental plagiarism, or none? No plagiarism.
Accidental.
Yes, yeah. So I'll give people about 25 more seconds to answer on the poll.
Both lots.
Two, one. Lost track of time. So yes, this is accidental plagiarism. You kind of forget. So you have to make sure to remember and double check that you've properly cited and referenced everything and properly paraphrased and summarized all of your information by maybe using a plagiarism checker. Okay, so we're going to go on to our second activity. This activity, you will see examples of plagiarism, like the ones we just looked at. I want you to use Pear Deck to explain why it is plagiarism and what the person should do instead to avoid plagiarism. If you have questions or technical difficulties, you can send us an email or you can hit the help button. I'll just quickly show you what it will look like. So this is Pear Deck. This is what we are going to be using. So you use the arrows down at the bottom. If you're on your phone, you can still use them. There's still arrows. And you move to the next slide. Oh, it's being slow to load. There we go. Okay. So these are what the slides look like. Oh, what did I just do? Try and move things around so I can read. Jojo Win paraphrases a sentence by replacing some of the main nouns with words that mean the same thing. So you go down to the T down here and it changes it to text. Why is this plagiarism? Can anyone tell me why this is plagiarism?
Replaces some of the main noun.
So what does she not do? What should she do?
Yes, I stop with, yeah.
So replaces some of the main.
Like say, Munas is plagiarism.
She should give citation, proper citation.
This
Well,
one.
not,
Yes.
oh, sorry, maybe I should say this is we can say mosaic plagiarism. What should this person do to avoid plagiarism?
Give the ethic.
Sorry?
Should give the ethic.
Give the
Ethic.
ethics? Maybe, but what she could do is she could paraphrase or summarize the sentences. So instead of just changing words, she could paraphrase or summarize the sentences properly. Okay, so there's different ones. You can just use the arrows at the bottom to go through. And the link to the Pear Deck is in the chat box. So I'm putting it in the chat box. You can click on it, and I'm going to put you in breakout rooms. So you work with your group. One person can share their screen and then work on it together. So I'll do, we'll do 9 breakout rooms. So you have about 15 minutes to work on this. So work with your group to answer these questions.
group ထဲရောက်နေတဲ့အခါကျတော့ငကိုမွေရဲ့ချက်ပေါက်တွေကိုကျွန်မပြန်သွားလို့မရဘူးဖြစ်နေတော့ကျွန်မစီမှာအဲ့ဒီ link ကမရှိဘူးဖြစ်နေတယ်
Did you ask for help?
Hello Yes I've lost link better link
Oh,
please reshare me
it's in the chat box. Can you see it now?
Okay
Is that
Thank
everything?
you ရပြီ
You can see it?
ရ
Okay.
ပြီခုမှပြန်ဝင်လို့ရပြီ Yes
Okay, awesome.
I'm not
Yeah, it should be just in the chat box. You can also tell me if you want or put it in the chat box. You want to copy? If you want to copy, we put copies of everything in the Google Classroom, or I can email them to you. Don't know if I... Okay, so we're just going to work through this together. So Lala copies and pastes a sentence that she likes into her own paper. There's only one sentence in the paragraph, her own words, so she decides not to cite it. Why is this plagiarism, or what kind of plagiarism is this? You can either tell me or type in the chat box.
Self.
Not.
Yes.
So it doesn't say it's her own paper that she copies. It's like she's writing her own paper, but it doesn't say that it's from her own paper.
Direct.
Then direct.
Direct plagiarism.
Yes, it is. Oops, I clicked off of it. Direct plagiarism.
Direct plagiarism.
And what should she do to avoid plagiarism? What should she do instead?
She should mention citation
Asian
and she write with her own words.
She should cite.
So she could either put it in, I could say put it in quotation marks if she wants put it in quotation marks and cite it properly if she wants to copy it and have it the same, or paraphrase it. So you would still have to cite it and cite it. So either you could put it in, if you wanted to keep it the same, you put it in quotation marks and put citations, or you paraphrase it and put citations. Okay, we already did this one. So Tint forgot to properly cite his sources in his term paper, and now he is going to fail the class. He might even be expelled from university. Why is this plagiarism? Sorry?
Accidental.
Accidental plagiarism. Okay, and what should he do to avoid plagiarism?
should cite.
Yeah. So maybe double check his citations and references. Someone suggested before, maybe use a plagiarism checker.
Yeah.
Okay. Then Win is very busy, but he has to submit an article next month or he will not get a raise. He decides to reuse a literature review that he published last year and just add new research. Why is this plagiarism, or what kind of plagiarism is this? Yes, self.
Self.
What should he do instead?
Reference.
So if it's published, you cannot reuse it because it's already published. So once it's published, you cannot, I mean, unless you, yeah, I think it's, you would have to redo the literature review. Maybe you could ask for permission from the publisher. Maybe ask permission from publisher. But you would probably have to redo it. Okay, so let's go back to our slides. Okay, you can either tell me or you can type. So just to review, what can you do to avoid plagiarism?
Check.
Check, yep. What else? Oh, someone has their TV on.
Citation.
Citation?
Reference, need reference.
Yeah, reference. Okay. Excellent. How well do you understand plagiarism? So same thing, show of fingers, not at all, a little bit, somewhat, quite well, or extremely well, or you can type it. So 1, 2, 3, how many fingers?
Quite well.
Okay, I see some 3s, some 4s, some 3s, some 4s, some 5s. Okay, excellent. So we will be talking more about plagiarism as we continue on. That was just an introduction to what it is, and we'll look at a bit more at it going forward. Okay. So I'm going to, and I'll do it in a second, I'll put in the chat box the feedback form. I will also email it out later today for me, tomorrow for you probably. Also, the email will have an invitation to the Google Classroom. We post all of our slides and all of our activities and videos from the classes in the Google Classroom, so you can look at them there if you want to review. Next week, we're going to be looking at how you can paraphrase sentences so that you are not plagiarizing, so it's not ending up in Mosaic. And also in the Google Classroom, there is a syllabus, a rough draft of what classes we will be doing and the order they will be in. They might change slightly, but just so you know. Okay, let me get the feedback form. So if you attend the Burmese and the English class, you can fill the feedback form in once or twice. It's up to you. Stop sharing. Chat box. Oops, sorry.
Yes.
Okay, so the link to the feedback form is in the chat box. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. Thank you very much. And we are finished.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And these are some.
Thanks, you. Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye for everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you next week. Yeah.
See you next week.
Next
Yes.
time.
So
Yeah.
I will
Have a sweet
email.
day, sweet Saturday.
Thanks. Thank you very much. Have a good
Sweet
Saturday.
night. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good night, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night,
Good
ba.
night.
Good night, ba.ဟုတ်ပါပြီ
Good
Good
night,
night.
ba. Sia.
Good night.
Good night, ba.
Good night. See you Saturday.
See you.
See you coming Saturday.
See you next Saturday.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, teacher, will you send the lecture before the lecture? Will you send the literature or email before the lecture time?
Oh, do you want the slides beforehand?
Yeah. For the next week, yeah.
Okay, I can send the slides beforehand in the email. I can.
Yeah. At least 2 days beforehand, yeah.
Okay. Well, I send them out because yeah, I send them out on Thursday or Friday morning, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because
Yeah.
we have a lot of duty. That's why more sooner is better. That's why.
Okay. Sounds
Sooner
good.
is better. Thank you.
Thank
How
you
about
very
for
much.
the donation?
Oh, so I put that on the feedback form. So if you want to give a donation,
Yeah.
I put the KBZ pay
Yeah.
on the feedback form. It's just for small amounts. If anyone wants to give larger amounts, I'm setting up an actual bank account for larger amounts.
$100. Only joke to you. So sweet days, yeah. ဆရာတို့ဆရာမတို့အားလုံးမင်္ဂလာပါ
မင်္ဂလာပါမင်္ဂလာပါကျွန်တော်ပသိမ်တက္ကသိုလ်
Any
ပါ
other
မိုက်ဌာ
questions?
။ဟုတ်ကဲ့ကျမရန်ကုန်အဝေးတင်မှာရန်ကုန်တက္ကသိုလ်28နှစ်အဝေးတင်မှာ9နှစ်ရှိပါပြီ။လောက်တဲ့34နှစ်နဲ့6လရှိပါပြီ။ကျမတို့ကအဖေဝါတော်ကြီးတွေဖြစ်နေပါပြီ။ဆရာတို့ဆရာမတို့အတွက်ပါ။ကျမတို့ကနောက်ကူရောက်သွားပါပြီ။
ဘောလို့ယူကျွန်တော်တရားကြည့်ရတာအခုမှဒီကျမိတ်ဆွေတော်မှတည်တာကျွန်တော်ဘောလို့မတင်ဘူးခုလေနော်
ကျမအသက်58နှစ်ပြည့်ဖို့တပတ်ပဲလိုပါလေ
ဟုတ်ပါပြီကြာမထင်အောင်ကျင်ဟုတ်
အိမ်မှာနေတော့ဘာမှမလိမ့်ထားပါဘူး
teacher
Teacher, he told me I'm very beautiful today. That's why I'm very happy to meet you here, all of you. I attended many classes, Zoom online, but today is very happy for me.
Look young and pretty.
pretty
Thank you so much.
So pretty.
I would like to invite all of you to visit the Yangon University of Distance Education. I would like to invite you, all of you.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Our
Thank you very much.
university will start very soon, open university, that's why.
Oh, cool.
Maybe.
Are you the rector there at the university?
No, I'm the professor I had from the chemistry department.
Okay.
My department is running the online courses, that's why.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, cool.
I have one owner for this plagiarism, but I didn't use. Sometimes I use my family plagiarism machine.
Yeah, that makes sense.
အဲ့ဒီ
Yeah,
ကောင်း
I
ပါ
mean, they can be kind of expensive, some of the plagiarism.
Yeah, expensive, but last 2 years ago I bought last 2 years. That's why not very expensive. Because I have a lot of research papers, that's why. For my university now, I'm using this plagiarism. But some plagiarism are different. Sometimes they show the 0%. That's why I can't believe it. 0% is impossible.
Yeah, I think it just means they don't have the enough like on file.
That's why I always tell plagiarism is as like the weather in Myanmar. Sometimes very hot, sometimes very cold. That's why plagiarism shows sometimes one time show the one data and one time shows the one data. As like the Myanmar ladies are very changing in the style and habit. That's why. Joke.
Oh, yeah.
The whole day I'm attending the online, very nervous, but now I'm very happy to meet all of you. Say hello, hello, Joso, Lale Piba.
Thank
ဟုတ်
you.
ပါကျင်ဟုတ်ကဲ့ပါကျင်
Thank you, Aban.
ဘာကြီးတွေဖြစ်နေပါပြီ
ဟုတ်ကဲ့ပါ
I have to go get ready for the next class. So thank you very much. And
Yeah.
I will see you.
Yeah, see you. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
We can leave now from meeting.
Yeah.